Now, good afternoon and good evening, wherever in the world you are. This is Lillian Bogo, and we're doing a special edition of the Shine Out Loud show. Now, if you remember when we started the season, we had Erman Baradi, who was going to call in from the States. And we had some fantastic tech gremlins that day. It was just ridiculous. Now, the man has crossed the ocean, and I figured that it will be amiss of me if I didn't catch up with him and do a special show. So, hey, Erman.
Hey, across the pond, as they say in the States.
Yeah, you're across the pond, across the waters, and you're here. How you doing?
I'm great. London has been such a blessing, actually, the last few days. We've been here since Thursday. It is, what is it, Monday? Tuesday?
Yes.
Monday.
Today is Monday.
Yeah. The one cloudy day, but it's okay, because the rest of the week was just beautiful.
Exactly. Yeah. London is a beautiful city. She has her moments, but this is a great time to visit.
Absolutely. Especially since I'm here now.
Exactly. So you're here, you brighten up London instantly.
Yeah.
So tell us, why did you come to London?
Mixnology, the company that I co-founded with my partner Brandon, we had a panel events on Friday nights in Barking. We collaborated with Bluebird Pictures out here.
Okay.
And it was specifically a women in TV and film panel. We had great speakers, women and men actually. We had Lucy Bevan, who's a casting director for films like Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
We had Maleficent. We had casting director Suzanne Smith, who does Into the Badlands, really good stuff. We had producer Steve Clark Hall, who produced the upcoming King Arthur movie. Plenty of great speakers. We had BAFTA-winning actress Georgina Campbell. We had filmmakers and actors come out to hear these professionals speak about the industry and more specifically the push for diversity with race and women. So it was a fun event. A lot of people came out. So, I think they learned a lot.
Well, you know what? I'm so sorry I actually missed that event because that would have been really amazing to actually stop by. Now, okay, we're talking about mixology. We're talking about the company you co-founded. But let's go back to the very beginning. Okay. Who is Erman Baradi?
Oh, man. Okay, I would say I'm a writer, screenwriter. I don't know. I launched a series of events in order for me to get connected myself. So I had a few events in LA and in New York, and then it kind of just snowballed, and it just got popular, and more and more speakers started getting on board. Really big producers from films and TV shows like The Walking Dead, Star Trek, Star Wars, really popular programs, and over time, I guess I realized I was good at it, and I was actually making legit connections in the industry. So I launched a new company with my partner Brandon with Mixnology, and wow, the last year has been phenomenal. We've done LA, New York, Chicago, Virginia, my home state, and for the first time ever, international. We're here in London, so we've really grown a lot in the last year. We've segued into contests too. We launched our filmmaking mentorship contest last month, in which a winning filmmaker gets a chance to fly to LA, on our dime, of course, for our mentorship meetings with a plethora of industry professionals. They get to have a guest spot at our next LA event on July 28th. And then we're going to launch 2 more in the next week or so. We have a horror contest in which a screenwriter gets to direct a short film alongside really big horror icons as mentors. So look out for that. And then we have a screenwriting contest coming up in which screenwriters get to win a mentorship with folks like Jim Oles, who wrote the 1999 film Fight Club. And then we have a writer from This Is Us on board as well. So, look out for that. We have really good stuff coming out for writers and filmmakers, and maybe actors. We'll see.
Okay, so you're a screenwriter. You actually, and also, do you act as well?
Back in college, I did a few things. I enjoy it. People say I'm good at it, so I think this year I'm getting more into it, especially since I personally, I push for Asian Americans in cinema. So that's one of my passions. So, I definitely want to pursue that more, for sure.
Okay, so we're talking about diversity. We're talking about more different faces on the screen now. When I interviewed you the first time, there was a whole thing in the UK called Yellowface. There was a Yellowface protest. Now, there was a play that was being aired, and I think it was called Into the Deep. And one of the things that happened with this play was it was supposed to be set in China. and all the characters had Chinese names, but none of the characters casted were Chinese.
Wow.
And I remember the directors and producers were claiming that even though it was set in China, it was not a Chinese play. And there was
the characters' names are Chinese, wasn't it?
Well, but then also forget about the characters' names being Chinese. It was set in ancient China. So it's like kind of obvious if it's set in ancient China, it should be Chinese.
Right.
People of Chinese origin. But, so where do you stand in this? Where characters are still being played by non-Asian characters?
It's insane. I think, well, first for me, I'm all for whatever is important for the story. So if the character's white, let them be white. If the character's black, let them be black. If it's set in China, in the ancient Chinese, if it's historically correct, do that. I don't think there's an excuse for them not to cast Asians and in clearly Asian roles. I mean, they're clearly Asian roles. So I think it's important to be respectful of the cultures and cast what is right for the roles. And obviously, I mean, I know a lot of actors get cast because it makes money, specifically film, right? So you cast certain actors in roles for the box office, but then they play a race that's obviously not their race. So I think, I want to see more Asian Americans in the spotlight, because I'm not saying that out of bias. I think it's really just on a visual aspect too. It's very I don't know, confusing and what's the word I'm looking for? Out of place, it's distracting.
Well, let's even take it. We're talking about a play, earlier in the year, but look at what's happened with Ghost in the Shell. That is actually very important. I mean, you have, as much as I love her,
Scarlett.
Scarlett Johansson, she's great at what she does. No one is taking that away from her. Scarlett Johansson is a great actress. Now, I've played the game. I know what the characters ought to look like.
Yeah.
Again, the same question is, why is she not an Asian American actress?
I wish I could answer that. I I can't tell you where it went behind the scenes when casting and the producers and the director talking, but that is tough, isn't it? Because she can make money for the film, but it's it shouldn't be her in the role. And like you said, nothing against her. Like you said, nothing against her.
Exactly, she's an amazing
actress. But it's just really distracting because people who are fans of the original content, that's the first thing they're going to notice. From the very first frame. Oh, I take it back. From the commercials. From the announcement of her being in the film. They already knew, what kind of backlash it would get. Because of the fact that Scarlett Johansson is not Asian. Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things the things that you do in your work is really about discussion around diversity, inclusion, and actually saying, there are other ways of doing it.
Absolutely.
So one of the things that you started, let's go back to this.
Okay.
Because, when we did the show, we went into everything about you. We started with your age. You're quite young.
27.
You're 27.
Yeah.
And so you're actually opening doors that would ordinarily be closed to yourself and young actors.
Right.
So you said, if these doors are not open for me, my job is to create a platform to open them.
Exactly.
And so one of the things that I really like about your work is that you are actually championing not just for yourself, but for others.
Absolutely, yeah. I'm an advocate of, I kind of made this up myself. Maybe I made it up, but it's, you don't, I think a lot of people have excuses. I don't believe in that. I think, when you don't have the answers, you create the answers. When you don't have the answers to the questions, you create the answers. So I believe in, putting yourself out there and doing what you love doing, of course, but also just creating opportunities for yourself, because a lot of opportunities won't come around, so you just got to create them for yourself. And I do want to push that to filmmakers and actors too, and anybody who is creative, writers, etc. I feel like it won't always come to you. I think a lot of people wait for opportunities when you could be creating them. So even with me, I'm from Virginia, and I network a lot in LA and New York. I had to figure out a way for me to do that, because obviously just me sitting in a room in Virginia on my laptop is not going to help me. I had to somehow reach out to the people that need to be reaching out to. So.
Okay, so you know what? I like that. I like that idea that these opportunities won't necessarily come and look for you. It's the onus is on you to actually create those opportunities.
Exactly. Yes, ma'am.
So that is something that is tweetable, and once I'm done, we're definitely
gonna tweet it.
tweeting
Yes, we're gonna tweet it.
So, now that you're in London, when next are you coming back?
Oh, okay. Spoiler alert. It looks like it's be in mid-January.
Okay.
There is a festival, and I can't quite say it yet because we haven't established it fully, but there's a festival who has reached out to me in order to put on a panel in January. So we'll see. I would love to see what the festival is, but we haven't officially established
That's okay.
it. So.
Once you get some more details,
Absolutely.
share with us, and we'll love to have you back over
Oh, thank you.
and talk a bit more about the panel, the work, and
Absolutely.
what you're doing to actually create more opportunities for young actors, young writers, young aspiring directors.
Yeah, it was beautiful because at the panel on Friday, a lot of people got a chance to network with the speakers and exchange cards, and we'll see what happens with. I'm pushing for it. I hope something happens with anybody there. So, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we found the next big filmmaker or actor at the event.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to find out who actually wins this competition, the first one that you just done.
Yeah.
So, when are the winners announced?
We're gonna announce the contest itself ends on June 15th. And then we're going to announce it a week after that, and then we're going to fly them out in July. So keep in touch. You can follow us on Twitter at MIXKNOWLEDGY, and then on our Film Empire contest, which is _film_empire.
Okay, so you can follow, you can tweet, and you're also on Instagram. What's your handle on Instagram?
For Mixnology, MIXKNOWLEDGY. You can also follow us at the Film Empire at the Film Empire, and then you can find me at Erman_LA, which is ERMAN_LA.
Okay, so that's how we can find you. Now, what's the one takeaway that we want to, looking at your life, looking at your experience, what's the one thing that you will change?
Oh, man. Okay, what's funny? You asked that question, and I asked that to all. Like, anyone I interview, I ask that question. It's like, what do you want to leave behind, right? Like, what do you want for your legacy? Man, for my career, I definitely want to be established. I want to get, of course, everybody wants an Oscar and Emmy, right? But for me, I think it's more meaningful if I was, not even just me and my company, me and Brandon, if we were responsible for finding the next big filmmaker or actor, and maybe not just an Emmy winning or Oscar winning, but someone who is able to change the game in the industry, if we were able to find that person through our contest, through our events, through us connecting people, then I think that's more meaningful to me than my own career, so, but hopefully they both take off. Yeah.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting your career and their career.
Yeah.
And I think that, there is room for it.
Absolutely.
There's room for everybody.
Yeah.
So, one more thing before we wrap this up. Now, looking at where you've come from, looking at the paths that you've taken, is there anything that you will tell your younger self to do differently?
Oh, wow. Network early. I'll say that for sure. I guess I can give you an example. I was finishing up college. I was junior year in college. And, I don't know, I was kind of in a rut, and I didn't realize what networking was, really. So I didn't really network until I was a senior, and I wish I started networking when I was a junior. Or maybe even a sophomore. So network early, that's what I would tell my younger self. And also, don't be afraid to fail. Because I think we all can tell ourselves that. Don't be afraid to fail, because it's the effort in trying that gets you through the door in the first place, So, yeah, don't be afraid to fail. Because you will. And I think, and I'm not just talking to myself. I'm talking to everybody. But don't be afraid to fail, because once that happens, you know what to do next. You kind of pick up the pieces and go, okay, I learned from this. Now I can do it better next time.
I like that. That whole concept about failing and that fear of failing keeps a lot of people from ever starting.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like not being afraid to fail
Yeah.
and actually saying, well, you know what? Stuff will happen. And it's our responsibility to stand up and start again.
Absolutely, yeah. There's a visual in my head. It's I don't know, it's crazy, but hopefully it doesn't jinx myself because I'm flying tomorrow. But every time somebody asks me that question, there's a visual in my head, and it's something along the lines of, a lot of people, like, imagine being on a plane and it going down and you being able to jump off in a parachute, right? But then there are others who are just afraid to board the plane in the first place, you know? So the people who get on the plane and jump off in a parachute, they have the experience, they have the failure, but they know what to do to overcome that. Whereas some people they have failure to launch in the first place.
Okay. So, I like that. I like that concept. And yeah, let's touch wood that you get home in one piece. No jumping out of any airplanes, please.
Absolutely. We'll do none of that.
No jumping out of any airplanes. So, I'm so glad that we actually managed to catch up and have this.
And in person, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was actually awesome. And I think, tech gremlins sometimes have their purpose.
Absolutely. Yes, ma'am.
So I'm looking forward to when you come back to the UK and also to find out who wins the competition
Oh,
in
absolutely.
July.
We'll definitely let you know.
All right, awesome. So this has been a special catch-up with Erman Baradi and on the Shine Out Loud show now. If you want to find out more about this young man, look for him on mixology.com and find him on Twitter, Instagram, and
Facebook.
Facebook, exactly, and Facebook as well.
Everybody.
So find him, and that's Erman Law, so ERMAN_LA. So find him, connect with him. He's a really brilliant young man who's talking about diversity, inclusion, and saying that actors and actresses, writers, and creators come in all shades and different colors, different sizes, different ethnic backgrounds.
Absolutely.
And it's our responsibility to create those opportunities if they're not readily available for us.
Absolutely.
Okay, and if you want to find out some more, go to our website, www.shineoutloud.tv, and you hear from me soon. Goodbye.